Hello, I'm Tammy Gingro, Body and Balance. I sort of want to apologize that I have not shared an ancient Egyptian tarot reading for some moons now. You may know I draw a Celtic cross every full moon, and I really enjoy sharing them. And I've just been through it this year, quite sick with respiratory conditions, which I believe is a part of the energetic purging process that we're all facing with the current astrology. We've had a full moon lunar eclipse, the total solar eclipse in the sign of Aries, conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer. And those were a great energetic setup for the reading today is for the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, a once in 14-year occurrence, but not in the sign of Taurus since 1941. So it's a once in a lifetime for some people. And Jupiter is known as the great benefic. Jupiter expands, blesses, and Uranus is the great awakener, known as Wajet in shamanic Egyptian astrology, the great serpent who sits at the diadem of the gods and goddesses, the pharaohs. And I believe our own Kundalini yoga, the serpents within each of us, the Ida and the Pingala that are coiled at the base of your spine, until and unless you unleash and awaken your Kundalini energy, which we're all being called to do. We are literally seated at the precipice of the greatest awakening of human history, human her story. So without further ado, I think this is going to be a long reading today. I hope you stick with me. It never ceases to amaze me the way the cards flow to express to us. It's an expression of the energies, and it's the guidance that comes is a possibility for how we work with these energies. And I'm really excited. So again, without further ado, the card in the first position, which represents our basic energy, our basic situation. So here with the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and these are timeless readings. So if you come to it a year later, these energies are still right for you. So we have the Knight of Cups. He represents the fiery aspect of water. Water as it is a solution. I can't think of solution without thinking of the spellings of disillusion, ILLUSION, and dissolution, SOLUTION, which are necessary alchemical processes when going through a big change, release, surrender. The fiery aspect of water, well, you can see here in his right hand, he bears the Holy Grail, which he's holding up to the stars, and a crab is issuing, representing the sign of Cancer or cardinal water. Water in its most active form, its most active aspect is the fiery aspect of water, and the idea that water is consciousness. The waters within me, the waters outside of me, the waters that make up the crystalline nature of me. So cardinal water, so one aspect of water at its most active form is brilliance and fluorescence. Think of humidity in the air, or a light, gentle rain, or even a rainbow, which comes when the sunshine illuminates the water in the air. It's that inner brilliance and inner fluorescence which we're being asked to unveil at this time. And the court cards, which there are 12 in each of the four elements, and these represent typically people, could be individual people coming in. The Knight of Cups is often thought to be perhaps new beginnings in love. Might I suggest new beginnings in love, love unleashed, loving ourselves relentlessly, and then loving every other, no matter whether they trigger you, no matter whether they mirror a shadow aspect of you. Love, 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 backed by power. In the I Ching, so anyway, the 12 court cards always refer to an I Ching, which is the basic, the most ancient Chinese I'm sorry, my words. It's the Mercury retrograde. There's lots of Mercury showing up in the reading as well. But the ancient Chinese divination system that things like the gene keys and human design are built upon. The Crowley Tahoe Tarot, which I work with, is a holistic system that unites astrology, astronomy, the I Ching, the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life. It is completely holistic and an incredible magic formula, if you will. So in the I Ching, it represents the 54th hexagram, surrender. That is a uniquely feminine quality of water, is surrender. Water goes with the flow, right? There can be no void. You fill a container and the water takes the shape of that container. Water flowing downstream, of course, if it hits an obstacle, it'll circle back around and create an eddy or a wave. But we want to surrender, especially to our most beloved ones, those closest to us. Can we become yielding in love, reaching new heights of emotional planes, bliss, samadhi? Samadhi is the Hindu concept, the yogic philosophy of deep concentration or surrender, resulting in union with absorption into ultimate reality or bliss. Can you imagine that? Deep surrender, deep concentration or meditation, so that you come into union and absorption with ultimate reality, or perhaps the source of all creation. We are one with the source of all creation. So a state of being undisturbed by your emotions, that's ultimate emotional equilibrium. Being undisturbed by lower density emotions such as anger, frustration, fear, anxiety, worry, or beliefs. Anything that we think often enough becomes a belief. And within every belief is a lie, the title of my good friend Lisa Schermerhorn's book, which I highly recommend. In the word belief is lie. Most of our beliefs are lies that have been passed down to us, not malevolently, but out of fear-based survival for thousands and thousands of years. So now there's a collective yearning or longing right now that is in the energy, and a yearning and a longing in Chinese medicine is the lungs. I've currently been really dealing with quite severe lung infections, respiratory infections, pneumonia, violent cough, resistant phlegm. So we want to look at the energetics of that situation. If we're longing for something we don't have, that could result in grief, which is not the right energy for manifestation. What we are called to at the end of a cycle, this is the end of a 14-year cycle and the beginning of a brand new 14-year cycle as it relates to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. We're also at the at several long cycle endings and new beginnings. The Kali Yuga cycle, which is, I believe, oh, that's a big one. I want to say 40,000 years, but I could be wrong. Also, the 2000 year Aquarian age we're entering into. So there's many cycles beginning and ending right now. And when we have an eclipse point, a really big eclipse point, and then a conjunction like this, along with the other astrological transits, Mercury in retrograde, Venus about to square Pluto, the full moon in Scorpio, which is always a time, as Scorpio is Pluto, death and transformation, and the full moon illuminates that. It's the time to not be afraid to dive in to your illuminated shadows, the shadow aspects of yourself that must be integrated, that must be loved. No more can we shame and blame ourselves. No more can we stay small. No more can we beat ourselves up. So with this 54th hexagram, surrender, it's time for an intensive interchange with those of like mind and outlook. We're longing for an intensive interchange with those of like mind and outlook. Connection is currency. I tend to be a little reclusive and I stay isolated. I'm obsessed with my garden, and this time of year I tend to be hauling stones. But how can we more deeply connect so that we can build these new earth communities? So ask yourself, how can the interchange in your relationships be enriched with your soul family? And an affirmation: I am finding and creating the contact or connections that I need and desire and that I am worthy of. So I kind of wrote that and then added to it. At first I am finding, creating the contact connection I need. I didn't love the word need, changed it to desire, and then that we are worthy of. So this is Gui Mi, the Marrying Maiden. I always use the I Ching Mothering Change translation. It is a beautiful, beautiful translation. So the Marrying Maiden teaches us that chastising closes the way and leaves no advantageous direction of self or others, chastising of self or others. So key points here: express yourself and connect through authentic feelings. Don't be afraid, be vulnerable, connect through your authentic feelings. A radical shift, return to where you belong, your natural state of being. Yield to the force of spirit or light. Fulfill your true purpose, destiny, hidden potential. Uncover your passion. A marriage brought about by forces beyond your control. I gotta put my glasses on. I can't even see my own writing, my broken glasses. Rousing energy that connects inner ideas. Accept inevitable radical change. Allow yourself to be led towards the place you belong. Feminine, receptive, blossoming. An affirmation, and you can choose if you like, if they resonate with you, to write down these affirmations. Pause, write the affirmations and state them every day for the month and see how that helps you to transform. Inner self-reflection brings a liberating awareness of the whole. I rouse new growth by leaving old ways behind. I rouse new growth by leaving old ways behind. We cannot bring in the new while we're clinging to the old. And in the second position, this is the energy furthering or crossing the basic situation. We have the Ace of Swords. Aces are new beginnings. Aces are also the throne of the princess of the suit. So in this case, this is the throne of the Princess of Swords. And in this deck, the princess has supplanted the king. You see, there are 22 rays on this diadem. There's rich, rich symbolism here. We see, this card actually represents the root of the powers of air. And it's the fiery part of water is air. So that made to me the connection of the fiery part of water from the Knight of Cups. The fiery part of water is air. And this is the root of the element of air, which one of the qualities is brilliance. You look at that diadem and you see brilliance, primordial energy of air. It is the breath of life. We cannot live long without a breath. Air also represents the ruach, the intellectual part of the soul. The mind is thought to be our great enemy in yogic philosophy and Eastern philosophy. The mind left untamed or untrained springs conflict, frustration, anxiety, worry, sorrow, paranoia, ego-based, lower density vibrations. I resist glasses so much. So when our mind is merged with our heart soul, it is the sword of the Magus, crowned with this 22-rayed diadem of pure light. The Magus is the first card it's the first, number one in the major arcana. We have the Magus with the last full moon. I'm sorry, it was the solar eclipse reading that we had the Magus in the position number 9, which is our hopes and fears. So this is the sword of the Magus. The hilt is copper. The guard with two crescent moons, waxing and waning back to back with 2 spheres between them. The blade is steel. Steel is the metal of Mars. Copper is the metal of Venus. So we see with Venus, the hilt, love is the motive for this sword of clarity. Thelema is the Greek word for clarity, which is inscribed on the sword. Thelema means divine will, desire fulfilled, freedom or libertarianism at its core. I do not like to use ism because in the ism is the conflict. The reconciliation of all opposites is the answer to the isms. So intellectual clarity, original thinking and ideas, divine inspiration are the themes of this card. And another, I already said, another translation of Thelema is clarity. The serpent coiled around the hilt of the sword represents transformation. Empowered in this way, one can call by name things which others prefer to sweep under the rug. In other words, using the sword of clarity with love, 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 backed by power and great responsibility, so that we're not being hurtful, but we're able to call by name things that others prefer to sweep under the carpet. Now, I believe we're going to have certain truths revealed in the next 4 to 6 months that people will no longer be able to deny or hide. So this is the sword that we can use to go in and cut through the scary parts of our shadow, to illuminate them, to integrate them, to love every part of ourself, remaining fully in contact with love when expressing your heartfelt desires. So perhaps you would like to meditate on this. The truth I speak has neither past nor future. It simply is. And it's my perspective, which I can change. And an affirmation for you: I trust my clear perspective. I am intuitive. The card in the third position, which represents our conscious thoughts, is the Nine of Swords, which represents cruelty. I find this interesting that this is in our conscious thoughts, because you can see the blood dripping from the end of the swords. I mean, this is pretty bad. This is the end of a war, the end of a conflict, the end of a cycle. This represents Mars in Gemini, Mars in Gemini, and most often refers to cruelty to yourself. Self-accusation, punishing, shaming yourself, heartless passion, revenge, resistance. And remember, resistance is futile. Mars in Gemini, the air sign of the lovers, number 6 in the major arcana, can be a tendency to put yourself down with the immense energy of Mars in its warlike shadow. Indecisiveness, afraid to make a choice. We must be willing to dive into this during the light of the full moon in Scorpio in order to integrate and transmute these energies. Ask yourself, who has judged me unjustly? And how do I condemn myself? Am I ready to forgive myself and others and step into freedom? And an affirmation: I am loved under these glasses simply because I am who I am, and I am the way I am. I am loved simply because I am the way I am. Okay, the card in the fourth position, the Empress. She is in the position of our unconscious thoughts. She is Venus. She represents Venus, the planet Venus, Mother Isis. Venus is about to square Pluto, very closely connected to the timing of the full moon in Scorpio. Venus squaring Pluto is no joke. This whole reading is really bringing forth ultimate divine feminine, divine masculine reconciliation of opposites within and without. So the Empress is the daughter of the Mighty One, the harmony of the universe. That love unites the will to create with the understanding of that creation. That's by Crowley. The harmony of the universe, that love unites the will to create with the understanding of that creation. So if we are created by the source of all creation, and if we are one with that source of all creation, our creator, mother, father, God, had a deep understanding of us, a deep knowing of us. We were never meant to be separate from God, and God is not masculine only. Nothing is born apart from the womb. So love and let love. Rejoice in every shape of that love. And get thy rapture and bliss and nourishment thereof. More Crowley. I love the way Crowley speaks. Love and let love. Rejoice in every shape of that love and get thy rapture or thy bliss and nourishment thereof. And this is the way we create new worlds, to love and let love. Sorry, I'm going to be playing with these. I should just get a different pair, but no, I will wear the broken ones here. Okay, so she also represents a doorway, a gateway. She's holding at her heart a lotus, which has a phallic stem. There's so much creation energy. You see the two crescent moons. Again, we saw the two crescents in the Ace of Swords. Here, though, they really represent balance. They cover her womb. So it is impossible to summarize the symbol or the meaning of the woman because she continually recurs. Infinitely varied form, many-throned, many-minded, many-wild, daughter of Zeus. The ever-changing nature of the woman. We are in tune with the moon, which changes every 2.5 days. I am nature of God. This is a poem by Crowley. I am nature of God. I am alone. None other may abide. Apart they perish. Drawn into me, my being grown. None other bosom is to bear nourishment. To be the heart of all beneath my zone. Of blue and gold is scarlet bright to cherish. My own life's being that is and not other. For I am God and nature and thy mother. Beauty, love, motherliness, femininity, wisdom, connection between spirit and matter, inner and outer wealth. The Empress embodies and commands the feminine in all her forms. You feel a sense of well-being in her presence. She is creativity and fruitfulness. The lotus she holds with the phallic stem close to her heart. Once we've integrated the sacred masculine aspects of ourselves, a woman is internally and externally rich. Okay, I got different glasses. These are better. So she represents the Great Mother, Mother Earth. The double-headed white eagle on her sword represents the transformation that occurs through the unification of diverse aspects of your being, that reconciliation of opposites that we're talking about, unity consciousness, love, 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 backed by power. The beauty you see in others, what attracts you to them, that same beauty is found in yourself. What if we all choose to only see the beauty in every other, whether they trigger our shadow or not? What if we choose to only see that beauty and reflect that beauty? So, is there a beautiful and strong woman who you would like to connect with and learn from? I have a suggestion to visualize your ideal woman and write down all of her attributes. Make a list and surround yourself by beauty and power. The affirmation I have for you, I am filled with power and beauty. And the card that we have in the 5th position, which represents the past energies, is none other than the 10 of Pentacles, wealth. And this card is Mercury in Virgo. The symbols on all 10 of the coins represent different forms of Mercury. Again, this is about inner and outer riches, same as the Empress. It's about the inner and outer riches and having the ability to see our own inner wealth and then share that with others. So this is an excellent energy to employ brilliant powers of communication. Brilliant, I think, is the one word that repeats almost with every card. It's about brilliance, radiance. The origins of any type of wealth are rooted in our consciousness. And this is where the reprogramming of our beliefs, remember the word lie, is in every belief. If you are not internally and externally rich, you have got to dive in to your conscious beliefs around wealth. We are responsible to birth our boundless inner wealth. We have a responsibility to be exceedingly generous, to birth our treasure, our inner treasure, inner wealth into the material world. This is where we all have our unique piece to share, right? So Esther Hicks calls it the vortex, that boundless inner wealth. That's our vortex. And all wealth must be used in service to love if it is to remain in those higher levels of consciousness. So a few kind of notes I've made here. I am 100% responsible. I have attracted everyone to me who is a part of my life. I have created every situation in my life. I create my own reality. The wealth in my hands is mine to do with as I please. The responsibility is mine, and I am endlessly wealthy. Ask yourself, do I even understand my own inner wealth? And do I share it generously? And an affirmation, 2 affirmations. I am internally, externally rich, and I am free. I enjoy everything with deep gratitude and in surrender. The card we have in the 6th position, the 3 of Cups, abundance. And what I love about this card of abundance is that it mostly refers to love. Abundance of love. So this card represents Mercury in Cancer this time. We've had Cancer represented in the Prince of Cups. We've had now Mercury in, I think Venus was the 10, right? 10 of Pentacles, Mercury in Virgo, not Venus. And so this represents an overflowing exchange of love, rare and valuable feelings and perception, which can be communicated intimately. Intimacy, into me you see. 3 cups are pomegranates, which is a rare and delicious fruit, symbolizing the vital treasure inherent in rare love, the juiciness of rare love. Does love have to be uncommon? Or again, can we choose to love every other as we love ourselves? The love represented here is the highest order of love. That means it's overflowing with joy. You have something that is exceptionally valuable to share. Are there people whom you have not outwardly expressed the love that you have for them? Please do yourself a favor and reach out to them and express your love. Affirmation: today, life gives me everything I need to be happy. In the 7th position, which represents you and I, if this were a personal reading, it would represent the person that the reading is for. As the collective, reading, this represents our collective energy, and we have an another powerful female figure, just like the Empress, which is the major arcana, and Venus. This Princess of Discs, the earth element, represents woman in her most profound and powerful form. She is the last of the court cards, as the earth element is the final element. She represents the earthy part of earth. She is on the brink of transfiguration. That's what cycles are about. As we have an ending and a new beginning, there needs to be transformation and transfiguration. When we leave these bodies, we become light and energy again. She is strong and beautiful, and it's like she's about to become aware of some secret wonder. Look how radiant she is. She bears a scepter that descends into the earth, and there its head becomes a diamond. This is the birth of the highest and purest light, as the precious stone descends to the deepest, darkest shadows. The diamond is the most precious of stones. And on her pentacle, we see the Chinese symbol for the spiral force of creation in perfect equilibrium, the yin and the yang symbol. And from this is born the rose of Isis, womanhood in her ultimate projection. Her attributes are pure, her reputation bewildering and inconsistent, as she is always changing. In the I Ching, she represents the 52nd hexagram, bound. The gatekeeper, Jen. Articulate. Here's a list of precepts, concepts, themes from the Mothering Change, 52nd hexagram. Articulate lessons of the past. Get shit done. Seek a natural balance of rest and movement. Complete things. End of a cycle of time. A gate between winter and spring. Deliverance from the suffering of the past. Deliverance of the suffering of the past. Calm and stabilize your desire in order to understand what you have accomplished. Reflect on the past in order to articulate the future. I love that term, articulate the future. We have the clarity of the Ace of Swords. We have the inner and outer riches of the Ten of Pentacles. We have the love, overflowing love and abundance of joy in the Three of Cups. We have the Princess of Discs to help us articulate our future. Our thoughts become things. It is important to review our past and celebrate our accomplishments so that we can articulate our future. And the end of a cycle is when things articulate themselves before they pass away. Do not be confined to a social identity or even to a cultural identity. A fertilizing shock revives new creativity. The dark time is ending. Keep still and wait. Remain in your center, in which everything returns to. The new will come in its own time. The card in the 8th position, which is energy coming to us from the outside world, we have our first major arcana. Actually, no, I'm sorry, our second major arcana, the Empress, was the first major arcana. We have here the Aeon, which was the universe in traditional tarot. Number 20, the blue figure that you see arched over represents the goddess Nuit. She is there to be the backdrop for the stars. And every morning she's consumed again by the sun. Her counterpart, her companion, is Hadith, represented by a winged ball of fire. Change my page here. He represents an omniscient perspective, the ability to see things from a much higher perspective, to see all sides at once. And these two, Nuit and Hadith, create the child Horus, who's pictured in the center, the sun god Horus. The eye of Horus sees totality. He has the clarity that can see what has fallen out of balance. And again, this reminded me of that clarity spoken of in the Ace of Swords, that when we're rooted in love and we trust our intuition and we have the clarity and we have that responsibility to say what others want to sweep under the rug, Horus, again, is helping us with great criticism and discernment based on such deep perception and, most importantly, rooted in love. These things can be communicated in a manner that motivates and inspires rather than condemns or criticizes. So you can use your clarity, your newfound intellectual freedom to motivate and inspire. And this is how we bring about lasting change. This is how we birth the new earth collectively. So when we're operating in full coherence, body, mind, and spirit, vast powers of thought, clarity, the mind become available to us. So, couple tips. See things from a bird's eye view. These are takeaways. See things from a bird's eye view. One sign of ignorance is to believe in any form of injustice or unhappiness. Affirmation, should you choose to accept it or go with it, is God is the unknown and the known. The more I surrender, the closer I am to the divine within. The card in the ninth position, which there's a special card in the Tejote Tarot. I leave this card in the deck, and when it comes in a reading, the card that comes after it has extra added importance. This card in the ninth position represents our hopes and fears. We have our second Prince, our third court card. We have the Prince of Wands. This is just pure energy. His rayed diadem again reminds me of the 22 rays on the Ace of Swords. Again, there is so much symbolism here. He represents the airy part of fire. We have the fiery part of water, and now we have the airy part of fire. He rules from the 21st degree of Cancer to the 20th degree of Leo. The rayed crown that he wears is surmounted by a lion's head, and he's robed by a curtain of fire. In his right hand, he bears a phoenix, a wand of power and energy. And in the other hand, he reins the lion who pulls his chariot, and they are riding upon a sea of flames. His highest character is swiftness and strength, noble and generous. In the I Ching, he represents the 42nd hexagram, augmenting Yi, one of the most abundant of all the I Chings. And to me, this is really bringing in the Jupiter element of this conjunction. Augmenting is a blessing, a big blessing. We all can have a big blessing. We're in the midpoint. When this conjunction was exact on 420, that's the midpoint. We've been feeling the energy since mid-March, and we'll be square in the energy until the 19th of May. So we're asked to work with this energy to, what was that word that I was in love with? To, goodness gracious, articulate our future. We're asked to work with this energy to articulate our future, to birth the new earth. So a blessing. It's advantageous to have a direction to go. That's why it's important to review the past and to be clear on where you're heading. It's advantageous to step into the great stream. Pour energy into all your endeavors. Increase, expand, develop, pour in, profit, build your resources. Visualize improvement and shift. Shift your perspective and your position. Fertile, overflowing, super abundant, restorative. This is a time of abundance and development. Facilitate communication between people and then share the wealth. Open up creative and safe spaces for dialogue and new ideas to be shared. New energy is penetrating the earth right now. New energies in the form of solar flares, greater and greater light pouring into the earth's atmosphere. We are all being upgraded, up-leveled, upshifted. It's like an electric outlet, and a surge comes through and it doesn't have the wiring to hold it, so it'll burn out. We've got to take the time to rest and ground with the earth as these new levels of light are coming in, so that us light bearers, light beacons, and light warriors can reveal our true radiance, can really shine our light from the lamppost. Strip away your old ideas. When heaven expands, it spreads to the earth. The earth, it gives, it's like a rebirth of the earth. And we've just experienced, as Native Americans and Indigenous people see the eclipse as the rebirth of the sun. I experienced the solar eclipse at Serpent Mound, and I went into the cave beneath the head of the serpent, where I believe is the heart and the eye of the serpent, and I felt the sun rebirthing. And now that gives way for the earth to rebirth, for all of us to rebirth. And just the complexities of this conjunction happening just days before the full moon in Scorpio, which will occur on Tuesday. And I'm going to have another reading for you on Tuesday. This is about radical transformation, a gate to higher levels of empowerment. It's like Mario, and you just get a choot, choot, choot to higher levels of empowerment. Aim for clarity. Emphasize benefits for all. Make it a win-win. May all your endeavors see a win-win where nobody loses, right? This is the way we rise together. Your affirmation, should you choose it: I have all I need. I will not be contained or slowed down. Do you think he can be contained or slowed down? It is time to ride the waves with belief in yourself, with confidence, knowing that you are internally and externally wealthy. I choose to generously share my abundance and my wealth. My wealth is inexhaustible. Okay, we would normally be bringing the reading to a close with the card in the 10th position, the final outcome. And I will confess that I was disappointed to see the 5 of Cups, disappointment in the outcome of such a powerful reading. This card is Mars and Scorpio. I have Mars and Scorpio in my chart. And this card has been a pretty faithful companion to me in my own personal readings. First became really aware of it in 2020. And every time it comes up, I feel this pang of disappointment is still here. Why disappointment? So today, I drew some clarifying cards, and the outcome is spectacular. So the 5 of Cups disappointment, as I said, is Mars and Scorpio, unfulfilled expectations, lost sense of balance. Every disappointment, however, contains an opportunity and the possibility of a learning experience, an important learning experience. Now, we're being asked again and again here to reflect on our past in order to articulate our future. The roots of the dying lotus are entwined into a butterfly, the symbol for transformation. 5 in numerology represents change. So I have 3 questions and 3 clarifying cards. The questions that I asked, and you can ask yourself and journal, please. In what areas of your life do you fear disappointment? Do you sometimes not start because of the fear of disappointment or failure? And the clarifying card that came is the Princess of Wands. Look at her. She is the butterfly. It's just so perfect. This butterfly that is the fertilizer for these dead and dying lotuses, she now is. Look at her, naked in a fiery flame, having conquered the tiger of fear. We could consult the Fool card where we first learn about this tiger of fear. She is the earthy part of fire. She's the fuel of fire itself. In the I Ching, she represents the 27th hexagram, being freed from fear. Your fear is conquered. Our fear is conquered. They have lost their power over you. Should you choose to just accept and surrender to these energies, we can all be living in freedom. What is the opposite of fear? Love, 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 backed by power. Reflect on your, oh God, I can't read my writing. Reflect on your gifts, your strengths, and list them. An affirmation, should you choose to accept it, as I accept my greatest fear, I transform it into love. Ask yourself, this is actually the second clarifying question, and it's incredible. What have I learned from my disappointments? And the clarifying card, dun, 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 death, Scorpio, card number 13, just days before the Scorpio full moon. But death, not in the sense of a physical death, Death in the learning to die so that I can be reborn, stripping away the fear of death. When we no longer fear death itself, we have no thing to lose and no thing to fear. No thing can rob us of our power, our potential, our potency. Death, resurrection. Death, resurrection. Becoming free of old ensnarements, free of karma, choosing to step off the karmic wheel. This card indicates that we are ready to let go of the old paradigm limiting beliefs that have kept us enslaved, sick, poor, fearful, dependent upon false systems, false dying systems. Let them go. Be liberated. When we cling to what has expired, that is when the process of transformation can become painful. Affirmation: I am now ready to make the necessary changes. I accept the pain that may come with letting go of the old. Die before you die. The Sufis and in Kundalini Yoga, we practice death. We practice consciously breathing our last breath and transforming into a different energy. Releasing all clinging so we can be free in the natural flow of life. Okay, coming to a close here. The third question. I'm sorry, I have an affirmation for you with this one. Another affirmation. I now say yes to death and yes to myself. And now the third question. How can I prevent disappointment? And we have the Two of Swords. It's upside down. The Two of Swords, peace. Inner peace, the power to make decisions. Deep spiritual peace, the energy of reorganization. Decisions made intuitively equal freshness and movement are bound together with true peace. Inner peace is a very special gift, one to be nurtured, but not clung to. The way I believe to prevent disappointment is to release expectations. When we have no expectations, we cannot be disappointed. Take time for deep relaxation in these next days so that you can examine your past, present, and future. Look at any shadows you've been afraid to look at, or fears that are still residing there, holding you back, keeping you small, robbing you of your inner wealth, robbing others of the outer riches that come from sharing your inner wealth. Be ready for this next cycle. Articulate the next cycle. Use your creative clarity to design the life you dream of. Win-win for everyone. Love, love, love backed by power. Collaboration, community, connection is currency. The affirmation, should you choose to accept it, deep peace fills my heart. And lastly, because of what the bottom of the deck is, and the bottom of the deck represents the underlying energy, we have the Tower, which is one of the greatest cards of transformation in the whole deck. We see at the top the Eye of Horus, which we already realized sees things from every aspect. Again, there is so much symbolism here. But when you are ready for the Tower moment, it's okay. It's like a clean slate. This represents Mars and healing and purification. This is one of the greatest cards of healing and purification. Purification by fire. What happens when we purify ourselves by fire? We turn to alchemical gold, the golden dawn, the new earth. Open the golden door and step across the golden bridge into the new earth timeline. It is that easy. The golden dragon right there in the background, in the year of the dragon, the way this eye is reflecting the light. This is a powerful time, friends. I am so grateful. Thank you for staying with me if you stayed with me to the end. And look for the next reading on Tuesday. I hope that you will use these affirmations. I hope that you will go through some of these processes that we talked about, a deep release, a letting go, and a readiness for the next cycle. This is about the next 14 years. That's a generation. I could have grandchildren by then, could build new aeon at Venus rising, regenerative community by then. This is huge. Big, big stuff. Reach out to me. Reach out to me if you would like a personal reading. This is a phenomenal time for a personal reading. Reach out to me if you would like to be connected to any of my newsletters for Reimagine, where we're reimagining Earth one community at a time. It's our effort to build regenerative communities, and Body and Balance emails, which will be about retreats and a 60-day ultimate cleanse and renew, and online collaborative summits, and soon to be the introduction of the collective directory, which has been in the birthing canal for a long time. But wonderful things are happening, and even more wonderful things will happen when we connect. So please comment, please like, share, and subscribe. Please subscribe to my channel. It's my goal to really grow the YouTube channel and to impact more people. I know that I've got a lot of inner riches to share, and I want to generously impact people, creating a causal change. I love you, beautiful beings. Blessings and love. Namaste.